Just thought I'd include everybody on this 1/24 scale model build. It's a Facebook group. We're having a build off, and it's a twin turbo custom build off. You basically have to build a twin turbo engine. That's the main guidelines for the contest or the build off, and this is pretty much what my entry will be. I'm building a Toyota AE86, or excuse me, 86, which is the new version. I'm putting a 2JZ Toyota twin turbo in it. So I just like to show you where I'm at, where I've started, and kind of some of the things that are a little bit more of a challenge than I anticipated. I picked this kit just for the opening hood, and the engine bay was already included, so you didn't have to scratch build your engine bay and spend time on that. I just wanted to do a basic body on the outside and spend most of my time concentrating on the engine and the custom build that you'll have to do to that. So here's where we're at. So like I said, I'm doing a Toyota 86, which is the US version Toyota FRS. So let me show you where I'm at, and just basically going the other day. And so we're not very far, but there's some major modifications I had to make, more than I had anticipated. So let's start there. Alright, so here's the body. And as you can see, I've cut out some of this stuff. It still needs to be trimmed and filed. So here's where the engine's gonna go. I've set my rear suspension. It's gonna be obviously low as possible. That's pretty easy on this kit. They provides basically a lowering set of parts if you want to lower it. You can see it here on the front. Here's your normal strut and hub, and then here's this little spacer that you can either install on the top if you want a normal stock ride height, or this part here, which you put on the bottom, and that basically holds it tight once you put the A-arms and cross member and whatnot in. So if you look here, you can see how this on the original kit is filled in with plastic. So basically they molded in the engine part of this model. So if you wanted to go run with the normal 4-cylinder, flat 4-cylinder, it's pretty basic, pretty easy to get done. So, but for me, I had to cut out all this part to be able to fit the much bigger engine in it. So it's been a little bit of a challenge, because there's some mounting points that help support the bottom part of the suspension, and that holds your front suspension in. But I think I've got that solution. I'm not too worried about that. I just wanted to make sure we could fit the engine in first. So let me show you a little bit of, there needed to be a little bit of modification to the engine block to get working steering, as well as to have it be able to sit in the engine bay correctly. I don't really have the diagram out right now to show you what this looks like before the modifications, but you can kind of see right here, I had to cut out a notch in the bottom of the block here. And I also had to cut a little notch right here in the front. The notch in the rear is basically so you can get your tie rods here, so your suspension will turn, and your wheels, you can put them at whatever angle you want. And it's just not a static straight wheel you know, for your model. I try to build them with wheels rolling and with as low as possible suspension, as well as having the wheels turn, because, you know, if you take pictures, you want to be able to set it up how you want. So, but not too bad, just a little bit of planning out and thinking how you're going to be able to make this all work and not cut off too much. And so, you know, every modeler knows it's test fitting is the first step. You don't just start gluing stuff. And so, sorry, a little fumbly at the moment, but I'm trying to get this in there. I kind of had it so it would kind of wedge in there and be held nice and tight. Put the axle. It fits, I promise. Okay, so I've got a little bit of pressure on the axle to push it forward. Obviously, you're gonna dial all this in. So, okay, close enough for the moment. So you can see there's plenty of room. Actually fits really nicely, I think. Hopefully I don't have issues with the belts and the cams and right in here. So I might have to trim a little bit of that stuff out. You know, throwing on your bumper to kind of see where your custom piping and whatnot, you know, so you can put your front mount intercooler, which is very important in the turbo world. So, you know, essentially it fits pretty good. I put the inner firewall, test fit that. Can't really install it until you work on the interior. I'm not really that far yet, but you know, is a really calculated guesstimate. This is where it goes. So there's plenty of room behind it. So if I do have to move this back for clearance, there shouldn't be an issue. You know, you got your brake booster and all that on the firewall, so everything's good. So far fitting really good. And the reason why I notched this bottom part out of the engine is so you get your suspension as low as possible and be able to have steering angle. So as you can see, it, you know, quick little mock-up. Can plan these things out. They're kind of the really part I haven't really figured out yet is this bottom excuse me, this bottom splash guard plates and aerodynamics, because if you see the exhaust on the EJ, I don't even know whatever code for Subarus is but your flat floor engine, the exhaust comes out right here, and this plate's got the opening for it. You can see there's other vents here, but excuse me, I'm sorry for the coughing. The exhaust on the 2J, I believe, comes down this side. I'm not super knowledgeable about twin turbos and build. My personal car is naturally aspirated, pretty simplistic build for just longevity, and sick of working on it and breaking stuff, so just keep it simple on my car. But anyway, I'm not exactly sure where this exhaust comes off, so I gotta, that's kind of the next stage. Without fumbling around too much trying to get the suspension, it's basically where it goes. So it covers a lot of this anyway, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have to, you know, make some modifications or cut this off and put a different plate there, because as you can see, there's a lot of support for the suspension here. So that's kind of the problem with cutting out this middle section, but no big deal, we'll get there. So basically just when I cut parts out with plastic, I just use a knife. This one you can see it's broken, dull tip, but in all reality, it didn't really matter cutting out something like this. On some cars, you know, a lot of people have cut out your doors, and you just keep scoring this lightly. You don't use the tip, and you don't try to go through it all at once. You use the back of the blade, and you just keep lightly scoring along these panel lines. And eventually, if you're patient, which is a challenge, you'll be able to cut that piece out. So, but with this part, it was really, you know, nobody's even really going to see it. So, you know, I just scored the crap out of it. You know, kind of went around the corners and scored it until it got to a point where, you know, once you score it, you can almost just like kind of rip it out. I don't know if that's the best advice really to how to explain it, but once you get this part, you know, you can wiggle it a little bit. Then you just kind of wiggle it back and forth, wiggle it back and forth, and it'll break this edge fairly clean. You know, you always have to clean up the cut, a little file or sandpaper. So I've got some other models I'll show you where I've cut the hood off and you have to build an engine bay, and it's time consuming, which, you know, sometimes when you have time, it's a lot of fun to, you know, just completely build something by yourself. You know, you got your base kit and build everything else onto it. But this particular build, I'm just trying to concentrate on doing a really clean build with oil lines, wiring, intercooler tubing, you know, front mount intercooler. So there's quite a bit of modification to get all that to work together. It's nothing overwhelming. It's just time consuming, and you got to really think about things ahead of time. So this is where I'm at. Still a long ways to go, but I thought I'd include everyone and be bringing out some more episodes shortly, and as I have time. It's a real challenge for me lately to get any kind of model building done because life is crazy sometimes. You just don't have time or energy, but I feel energized and I'm ready to finish this one off. And if you're interested, it's a Facebook group named Anti-Curbside Build Off 2019. I'm not sure if it's private right now, but the guy that, you know, runs everything, he's a really nice guy and just wants everybody to enjoy themselves and share ideas, and it's just for fun, basically. I don't care if I win anything. So I just want to get something cool built, which I got 30 projects started, but kind of run out of energy. So appreciate you taking your time to watch this today, and soon I'll give you another update. I'm probably going to start working on some, you know, wheel placement, lowering, getting the stance right. Doggone wheel just tried to run away from me. Anyway, okay, here it is. So, I'm not going to super crazy stance camber stuff, but just want it as low as possible. So that'll be the next step to kind of finalize and make sure all this stuff works together with the suspension. So, all right, everyone. I hope you have a great day, and give you an update soon. Have a good one. Bye.